Coming up on Valley View News, Lakers fans take to the streets celebrating the first championship in 10 years. Plus, how virtual learning is negatively affecting students and what Prop 18 means for young voters.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Amanda Alvarado.
And I'm Ryan Ketchum in the Digital Media Center. The Los Angeles Lakers are world champs again. They defeated the Miami Heat in Game 6 of the NBA Finals Sunday. Finals MVP and four-time NBA champ LeBron James had a triple-double in the win.
To be a part of this is something that I'll be able to talk about, and my grandkids and kids will be able to talk about that their pawpaw or their dad played for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Co-champ Anthony Davis had 19 points and 15 rebounds. The Lakers' last title was in 2010 when Kobe Bryant led the team to beat the Celtics. The championship was played in the Orlando bubble. This 17th title ties the Lakers with their rivals, the Boston Celtics, for the most NBA titles. Here's what some fans had to say after learning of the Lakers' big win.
I knew that one day that they're going to win, so I always, kept my commitment as a fan to watching the Lakers, and then watching them win the championship this year was something really astonishing to me, especially the times that we win right now. That's something that I feel Los Angeles really needed.
The fact that the Lakers won a championship after Kobe's death, it really hits home for everybody. It hits home for all Laker fans around the world, I feel like, because Kobe is bigger than basketball for a lot of people. I don't know, he's like a big part of my life. So for LeBron and like the rest of the Laker team, to do this for him, it's a really sentimental moment for everybody.
I'm a huge Laker fan. I'm actually from the Bay Area, so we drove out here right after the Lakers won last night. I'm here because, when I was a kid growing up, I got to see the Lakers win all the time. But, like I said, I'm from the Bay Area. Now I'm an adult and I get to see the Lakers win, so I'm here. I wanted to be here.
Sunday, an estimated 100,000 demonstrators marched through Beverly Hills to support the people of Armenia. One protester says they won't stop until their message is clear and heard.
The people want peace, and they made it clear to the international community, who has been remaining silent in terms of the violence that have been occurring within the region.
Azerbaijan and Armenia are clashing over a territory called Nagorno-Karabakh. Hundreds have been killed and wounded. In addition to protesting, supporters are collecting donations to send back to Armenia. Kim Kardashian West donated $1 million to the Glendale-based Armenian Fund. Mayor Eric Garcetti tweeted that he stands with Armenia.
More than 40 LA County children were diagnosed with a rare COVID-19 related disease. The CDC says they suffer from a multi-system inflammatory syndrome known as MIS-C. Symptoms include fever, stomach pain, vomiting, diarrhea, rashes, bloodshot eyes, exhaustion, and inflamed body parts. Nationwide, more than 1,000 children are affected and 20 children have died. Officials say the syndrome first appeared in adults last June. Meanwhile, LA County has better than 280,000 COVID-19 cases. Nearly 7,000 people have died.
Virtual learning is proving to be less beneficial than in-person classes for some students. Valley View News reporter Liliana Ramirez visits an elementary school for more details.
Any questions about the stuff we're doing in language arts?
Virtual learning is still taking place at many schools around the world because of the global pandemic. At ARMINTA Elementary School in North Hollywood,
it's called online.
5th grade teacher Morris McCormick says online instruction is the hardest way to teach students.
The lack of computer literacy in the students, probably even more that same lack of computer literacy with parents and their ability to help their children, if they can even be there to help their children.
Mother of 3 Monica Flores' son is being taught online. Flores prefers her son to be taught face-to-face with his teacher. She says online learning isn't effective. It only distracts her son from paying attention.
Even though I try my best to have him at a quiet space by himself, there's so many distractions for them.
Teachers also say learning online doesn't provide the same benefits a student receives from in-person instruction. ARMINTA Elementary's principal Renee Ramirez says students need to learn social skills. Social skills are missed with online learning.
The students are missing out on that social nexus that they form with their classmates and their teacher.
The district is reinforcing social-emotional learning to help the children cope with emotional distress during the pandemic. It is still unclear when in-person learning will begin. In North Hollywood, I'm Liliana Ramirez reporting for Valley View News.
The Senate Judiciary Committee started meeting Monday to consider the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. It's the first of 4 hearings. She's currently a judge in the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals.
I am deeply honored by the confidence that you have placed in me. And I am so grateful to you and the First Lady, to the Vice President and the Second Lady.
If appointed, she'll succeed the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The Judiciary panel includes 22 members, 12 Republicans and 10 Democrats. California Senator Kamala Harris got to question Judge Barrett. Harris participated remotely from her Senate office. Barrett is a known conservative, and Democrats fear she'll vote to end the Affordable Care Act. She's also expected to vote to strip away abortion rights. If confirmed by the full Senate, the conservative majority expands to 6-3.
The second presidential debate was canceled after President Trump tested positive for COVID earlier this month. Now the presidential candidates are working on doing their own town halls. The Biden campaign has a town hall with ABC News. It will be moderated by George Stephanopoulos. This is after President Trump refused to have a virtual debate. The Trump campaign plans a town hall with NBC News and Savannah Guthrie. That's on the condition that Trump tests negative for COVID-19. The White House Deputy Communications Director says President Trump is ready to debate.
And his doctors have cleared him for participating in public engagements. They've said he's no longer a risk for transmission.
Both town halls will be outdoors.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says he was used out of context in a Trump campaign ad, and it was also done without his permission. The ad is about President Trump's response to the pandemic and has Fauci speaking.
President Trump tackled the virus head-on, as leaders should.
I can't imagine that anybody could be doing more.
Fauci says at the time he was speaking broadly about the federal efforts against COVID-19, and he says he's never publicly endorsed a political candidate during his time in public service.
President Donald Trump claims he is no longer at risk of transmitting the COVID-19 virus. He still won't say when he last tested negative for the virus. Some medical experts are questioning Trump's declaration that he's not contagious. Trump attended a rally in Florida Monday and is expected to travel for the rest of the campaign.
I've been tested totally negative. I'm going to be out in Florida tomorrow working very hard because this is an election we have to win. This is the most important election of our lives.
The Trump campaign didn't say if any additional safety measures are taking place to prevent the spread of the virus.
Twitter says it's cracking down on tweets that spread false information leading up to the presidential election. Sunday, President Donald Trump had another one of the tweets flagged. Twitter hit his post claiming it was spreading misleading and potentially harmful information about COVID-19. Twitter also said it won't let Trump or Joe Biden declare winning the election without official double verification.
2 voting reform propositions are on the ballot this election. Reporter Bryce Wayne breaks down one proposition that could change the voting age, Prop 18.
17-year-olds in California may be able to vote in primary elections if Proposition 18 passes, although they'll need to turn 18 by the time of the general election to participate. Some 17-year-olds, like Joshua Sims, don't think they should be allowed to vote.
I think we are not mature enough, and when you turn 18 or 17, you're truly not an adult. So I think you need to first mature.
Ready, go! Sims's view on his own maturity differs from some high school teachers. For instance, English teacher John Purcell says if a 17-year-old is paying attention to the primary election, then they're probably mature enough to vote.
If you're of that age and you're politically aware, and to the point that you're going to go ahead and register at 17 to vote in a primary, I think they should let you have at it.
Some Prop 18 opponents say giving a vote to a legal minor means just another vote that reflects the votes of their parents or teachers. Purcell says anyone who works with 17-year-olds would know that's not true.
That's someone who doesn't really know 17-year-olds. I mean, they don't typically do whatever their teachers or their parents tell them. At 17, they have their own mind and they're gonna use it.
17-year-olds' voting rights aren't the only voting rights on the ballot this year in California. Prop 17 would allow ex-convicts to vote while on parole. For Valley View News, I'm Bryce Wayne.
A CNN and Edison research survey of the election officials in 36 states show that more than 7.3 million people have already voted in the general election. Democrat voters outnumber Republicans among the early voters. Pre-election day ballots cast across the country are expected to rise quickly as the November 3rd election approaches. This isn't a predictor of the election outcome. It just shows that some Republicans prefer to vote in person on Election Day.
A fake voter drop box labeled as official has been removed. It was placed outside the Castaic Church in LA. The church's pastor used Facebook to encourage his congregation to drop their ballots off in the box. But the Los Angeles County Registrar's Office says the box was not part of the 400 official voter drop boxes in Los Angeles County. The church pastor Cook hasn't responded to media inquiries. Voters can track their ballots using the Where's My Ballot option on the Secretary of State's website.
More to come on Valley View News, how the coronavirus affected a local bakery and gyms reopen with new COVID protocols.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
The coronavirus has shut down many businesses. Still, many businesses are trying to stay open during the pandemic. Reporter Brenda Saldana explains the struggles of small businesses as they try to serve customers.
Small businesses are being affected due to COVID-19. At Plaza del Valle, they have been struggling to maintain themselves open, even when their sales are on the downfall. For Faustino Perez at Los Pastelitos Caseros Donuts and Bakery, it's been a challenge to keep operating as one of the few shops who can still do so. I lose more when I open than if I were to be closed, because you need to have the product fresh, and it's a lot that goes to waste. But he is not the only one. Victor Peraza and his family own El Tamarindo restaurant and have been open for 8 months. They have been using social media to try and increase their sales. The truth is that we have been posting on the internet, giving promotions and giving away something after you spend maybe $10. Like, for example, a soda or something like that. These small businesses have also been forced to close earlier than usual. Several businesses continue to stay open and running, hoping that soon they can see normality. In Panorama City, I'm Brenda Saldana for Valley View News.
Apple will launch its new iPhone lineup soon. It'll show the iPhone's first major exterior redesign in 3 years. The lineup will include 4 different phones and screen sizes, and some of the iPhones will now support the 5G cellular network, which gives faster downloads. However, the 5G network isn't fully installed across the U.S. The last time Apple made major changes to its iPhone was in 2014 when iPhone 6 came out with bigger screens.
Big retail stores are now competing with Amazon by offering alternatives to waiting for packages to be delivered. Curbside and in-store pickup are becoming popular during the pandemic. Also, the wait time between when something is ordered and received is much shorter. Target, Walmart, and Best Buy held pickup sales during Amazon's 2-day Prime Day sale. Target calls theirs Deal Days. By the holidays, fresh and frozen foods will be added to the curbside pickup. Walmart's Big Save event has thousands of general items and food for curbside pickup. Best Buy is offering Black Friday savings. Its online orders can be ready within the hour.
The United States Postal Service is increasing prices in 2021. First-class mailing services will increase by 1.8%. Everything else will increase by 1.5%, but the cost of forever stamps stays at 55 cents. The Postal Service has been under scrutiny since the appointment of Postmaster General Louis DeJoy. Price increases are a normal occurrence, but this year's increase is a little more than the inflation rate. The Postal Regulatory Commission still needs to approve increases. If approved, the increases take effect in January.
Gym memberships across the U.S. have been affected by COVID-19. Yahata FLORES has more on the story from one local gym.
COVID-19 has affected public spaces in different ways. Physical trainers from Anytime Fitness in Chatsworth talk about what they do to keep an open gym.
Putting signage to help members be aware of proper hand washing procedures as far as clean down equipment.
This facility is well known to have the best cleanliness. Anytime Fitness in general with that franchise.
Although they have increased hand sanitizing and disinfecting stations, half of their members haven't returned.
It's been a wide variety of numbers because you also have people joining. They want to get that workout in. So I would say it's a 50-50.
It's 50-50. People are canceling, again, financial burdens, and on the other side, it's people want to come here.
The gym has become a lifestyle to many members, while others use their extra time as motivation to start working out.
For me personally, I don't think it affected my motivation in a bad way, mainly because I'm training for a bodybuilding competition.
I found myself just overeating and just being so lazy, but then I realized I should take this and turn it into like a positive. Let me just go ahead and get healthy and be fit.
Studies done by Run Repeat, a website that is driven by a community of runners, say that 71% of gym members across the U.S. have not returned. Reporting from Chatsworth, I'm Yahata.
Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is likely out for the season. He suffered a devastating right ankle injury. His ankle was dislocated and he suffered a fracture. In the third quarter against the Giants, an emotional Prescott was carted off the field as teammates gave him support. Prescott had a successful surgery Sunday night and recovery is expected to be 4 to 6 months. He had topped the league in all passing categories before the injury. The Cowboys won the game and now sit at the top of their division.
COVID-19 has forced the Los Angeles Chargers to have the biggest game reshuffling in the NFL. It happened after more positive COVID-19 tests on the New England Patriot players. As a result, the New England versus Denver game was postponed a second time. The Chargers don't have problems with positive tests, but their schedule was affected the most. Tennessee is currently dealing with the biggest COVID outbreak. More than 20 players and personnel tested positive. Dodger Stadium is hosting a drive-in viewing party for the National League Championship Series. Admission is $75 per car. Tickets must be purchased in advance at Dodger.com. The game will be on a 60-foot screen in parking lots 2 and 3. Audio will be broadcast on FM radio. Parking gates open 1 hour prior to game time. Concessions aren't available and alcohol is prohibited. Fans must bring their own food and beverages. Social distancing and mandatory face coverings will be enforced. No outdoor seating is permitted.
Fishing can be a fun sport for most, but reporter Ethan Hansen explains how the sport can also have a positive and negative effect on the environment.
I think I got a little baby on here too. Sports fishing is a thriving business with a $4.6 billion impact on California and employs over 33,000 people. But is it good for the environment?
Absolutely, because there's a limit on fish that you catch.
But a study in Scientific Reports shows that 46% of trash accumulated by the Great Pacific Garbage Patch comes from fishing gear. Channel Island sport fishing captain Don ROWELL says independent anglers aren't to blame.
There's a lot of conservation efforts that are paid for by fishing licenses, by sale of tackle, by our association.
About 40 miles away, as the pelican flies, is environmental researcher Sean Anderson. He says positive ecological change will occur once people become active in collecting data. He says the more people go fishing, the more people will learn about the environment.
I really, really hope people get out and about and do stuff. Part of that means go fishing.
One of those people trying deep-sea fishing for the first time was 30-year-old Marvin Oriana. Oriana on his first try reeled in a 5-pound, 10-ounce lingcod, the biggest fish on the boat, an experience he wanted to share with his father.
I think he will be absolutely stoked to see the fish I was able to catch on my first time out.
Whether it's catching fish or collecting data, the ocean is a much safer place for all inhabitants when sportsmen and scientists are working together. From off the coast of Oxnard, California, I'm Ethan Hansen, Valley View News.
When we come back, a popular video game tactic introduces players to gambling. Also, how a civil rights activist shares her message through a one-woman show.
Leah, did you put a new dent in that?
This one? No.
Were you texting and driving again?
Yes.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about your bumper.
Intensive care wards in Europe are filling up as the second wave of COVID-19 begins. Belgium, the UK, and Spain are all diagnosing more cases per capita than the US. Experts say this is likely because of the increased testing and more asymptomatic positives than the first wave. 98,000 cases were reported in a 24-hour period. Spain declared a state of emergency in Madrid. Local and national authorities are disagreeing over containment measures. France saw a record of more than 20,000 new cases last Friday. Regardless of Italy's strict 10-week lockdown and aggressive containment measures, they are having issues. Experts say ICUs in Rome and Naples could be over capacity within a month.
England Prime Minister Boris Johnson is announcing a 3-tier local lockdown system in response to the coronavirus resurgence. The country will be placed into 3 different alert levels: medium, high, and very high. The details of each level have not been released yet, but it is expected that pubs and restaurants will be closed and gatherings will be banned in the highest alert areas.
October 12th is Columbus Day, but a few states now call it Indigenous Peoples Day. The change recognizes the native populations that were displaced by European explorers like Christopher Columbus. Virginia is the latest state to change the holiday from Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. CSUN and much of the San Fernando Valley are located on the tribal lands of the Tongva, indigenous people. They first arrived here more than 2,000 years ago. Meanwhile, Columbus Day is still a federal holiday.
Loot boxes have become a hot commodity in popular video games. Valley View News reporter Timothy Tien explains why this can be a gateway to gambling addictions in adolescence.
Gambling usually happens in casinos, but the latest craze is gambling in video games, and your kids are probably doing it. Loot boxes are games of chance within the actual video game. You pay real money and win a random prize. Alejandro Williams says the goal is to show off.
You're spending money to essentially try to get a product straight just for, for cosmetic value. It's just make the character look cooler.
Some people are worried loot boxes could become a gateway to gambling addiction in children.
It's eye candy,
Williams says kids are drawn to the visuals.
It could be a diamond or something, but you want it. And it's just right there in front of you. Pretty colors? Yeah, you would want to get that.
And that's one of the problems. Loot boxes, like casinos, tend to use bright lights and loud noises to give off a sense of accomplishment. That sense of accomplishment can be addicting to some gamers. Gamers like Michael Espinoza.
I've spent about $200 a month, on just cosmetic skins on just the loot boxes. I think what makes it so addicting is that the loot boxes are completely random. So if you don't get a certain skin that you want, it's like you just have to keep trying.
Some companies won't call loot box features gambling. They use other names like surprise mechanics. In Northridge, I'm Timothy Tien, Valley View News.
War with Grandpa beat out Christopher Nolan's Tenet this past weekend by $1.1 million. 16% of U.S. marketplace is still closed, including cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco. Currently, only 7 of California Regal theaters are open, compared to over 500 locations. 1993's Halloween flick Hocus Pocus came in at 3 at the top 10 this weekend.
The Disney's indoor roller coaster Space Mountain is on its way to the big screen. The movie will be produced by Joby Harold, his wife Tori Tunnell, and alongside their team Safe House Picture. The film is on its early stages of production, but is expected to be a theatrical release. The space-themed roller coaster was introduced in 1975 at the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, and it was later installed across the country in California at Disneyland in 1977.
Game show host and ad man Tom Kennedy died in his Oxnard home last week. He was 93 years old. Before doing TV commercials and game shows, he starred in radio. Kennedy hosted 14 different game shows in his career. They included Name That Tune and You Don't Say. Friend Steve Beverly announced his death on Facebook. Kennedy is survived by his 3 children and granddaughter.
Reporter Veronica Barriga shares one woman's creative pursuits to honor civil rights activists of the past.
Stagehands are on deck and lighting cues are called as performance artist Mzuri Moyo Mbaye moves through rehearsal. It's for her one-woman show, The Fannie Lou Hamer Story.
High school student was in that jail cell.
Hamer was a civil rights activist. During the 1960s, she was jailed and beaten for exercising her right to vote.
People don't realize that after they amended the 14th Amendment, it took 95 years for blacks to be able to vote after that, after slavery ended.
The show pays tribute to Hamer's testimony at the 1964 Democratic Convention, which many say helped pass the Voting Rights Act the next year. For Mbaye, the project is personal. She says it allowed her to transform her anger and change her life.
Fannie Lou Hamer's rage was channeled, mine wasn't, you know, so I felt that doing this performance, writing this play and performing it after 18 years, I've had a way to channel my anger and my life is so much better.
Mbaye hopes her performance can inspire others in their darkest days. But the real takeaway, she says, can be found in Fannie Lou's favorite song.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. That they can shine their light, you know? Everybody has a light and they should shine it.
In Northridge, for Valley View News, I'm Veronica Barriga.
Guinness World Records gave Nikki Patterson the title for the most tattoos of the same musician tattooed on the body. Since a teenager, the 35-year-old nail technician from Aberdeen, Scotland, has admired the rapper Eminem. She documents her tattoos on her Instagram. Since beating the world record, she's received a lot of attention online. She hopes to reach the attention specifically of Eminem. Of Patterson's 54 tattoos, 28 are symbols or lyrics. 16 of them are self-portraits of the rapper, which won her the world record.
That's all for us at Valley View News. I'm Ryan Ketchum.
And I'm Amanda Alvarado. For stories any time of the day, go to our website, sundial.csun.edu. Thanks for watching.